James Miller had repeated this phrase thousands of times over 3 years on the streets. His veteran's cap sat soggy on his head, his military jacket long since lost its shine. Most people rushed past, pretending not to notice. A man in his mid-40s wearing a plain gray hoodie stopped, something that rarely happened. "Here you go," he said, handing over a crisp dollar bill. As their eyes met, James noticed something familiar in them. "Thank you, sir. God bless you." James clutched the dollar but spotted Martha, an elderly woman from the shelter, shivering in her usual spot. Without hesitation, he walked to the nearby coffee cart. "One small coffee, extra hot." Tony, the vendor, raised an eyebrow. "You sure, James? Could get yourself something to eat instead." James slid the dollar across. As Tony prepared the coffee, James felt eyes on him. The man who'd given him the dollar stood watching from behind a newspaper stand. "James, what are you doing?" Martha asked as he approached with the coffee. "It's cold today, Martha. You need this more than I do." He pressed the warm cup into her trembling hands. Unknown to James, Michael Chun, the man in the hoodie and CEO of Tech Future Industries, continued observing. He watched James spend several minutes ensuring Martha was comfortable. The scene stirred memories of when he'd had nothing, when a stranger's kindness meant everything. Michael pulled out his phone, canceling his next 3 meetings. He needed to understand this man who had so little yet gave so much. Over the next week, Michael observed James helping dozens of people despite his own hunger. He tested James by leaving money in his path. Every time, James gave it away: cold medicine for Martha, meal programs for shelters, blankets for others. Michael's security team revealed James's background: decorated veteran, former combat medic, exemplary service record. But a photograph from 15 years ago showed something shocking: James receiving accommodation with Michael's late father in the background. The medic who'd saved his father's life during a classified operation, giving Michael 1 more year with him, was James Miller. Michael also realized something else. 15 years ago, when his father died and Michael lost everything, a homeless veteran had shared his shelter meal with a broken kid on a curb. That veteran was James too. The morning Michael approached James, he bought 2 coffees. "Mind if I join you?" They sat on a bench. "I've been watching you," Michael admitted. "You helped my father survive. Operation Desert Shield, 2008. That medic was you." James's eyes widened with recognition. "Chun, you're David Chen's son." "That mission gave me 1 more year with my father," Michael said. "And 15 years ago, you shared your meal with me when I'd lost everything. You told me, sometimes life takes everything so you can learn what really matters." Those words changed my life. Tears formed in James's eyes. "I remember now. You looked so much like your father. Never imagined that kid would become a billionaire. You gave me back my father and gave me hope," Michael said. "Now it's my turn." He pulled out his business card. "I want to create a foundation to help veterans: housing, therapy, job training. Everything I've seen you do for others, but on a scale that could help thousands. I need you to help shape it." James looked at the young veteran across the street. "What about them? All the others out here?" "That's exactly why I need you," Michael said. "Someone who's lived it. Someone who never lost their humanity." James looked at his worn sketchbook, filled with faces of people he'd helped. "Okay, not for me. For them." The first month was difficult. James often slept on the floor beside his new bed, old habits hard to break. PTSD therapy surfaced buried memories of his wife Sarah's death and his descent into homelessness. But this time, he wasn't alone. "The foundation needs a name," Michael said one morning. "Second chances," James replied. "Because sometimes that's all anyone needs." They converted Michael's empty office building into housing for 20 veterans. Tommy, the young veteran from James's street corner, became their first success, discovering talent for programming and interning at Tech Future Industries within 6 months. "You spoke my language," Tommy told James. "You understood the noise in my head wasn't weakness." James designed therapy programs incorporating art and proposed family counseling centers. "We only treat the veteran," he explained, "but their families carry invisible wounds too." As the foundation grew, James spoke at veteran events. His street sketches, now framed in their headquarters, reminded everyone that every homeless veteran had a story worth reclaiming. Though some nights he still woke in cold sweats, he had purpose again. Martha's portrait hung in his office. They'd found her too late, pneumonia taking her weeks before the foundation launched. It reminded him why every day counted. 5 years later, the Second Chances Foundation had become a nationwide network of veteran support centers. James stood at the National Veterans Support Conference podium. 5 years ago, I was asking for $1 on a street corner, he began. Today I'm asking for something more valuable, your understanding. We've housed over 10,000 veterans, but the real story is in the families reunited, the nightmares conquered, the purpose restored. Tommy, now heading their technology training program, sat beside Michael in the front row. In James's office after the speech, Michael noticed a new double portrait on the wall, James on his street corner and at the podium. Finally learned how to draw hope, James said. Through the window, they watched a Second Chances outreach team helping a homeless veteran below. The universe doesn't make mistakes, James said softly. Every hardship taught me something I needed to help others. $1, Michael mused. One moment of kindness. That's all it takes to start a revolution. James opened his sketchbook and drew two figures, one extending $1, another accepting it. Around them, like ripples in a pond, hundreds of others reaching out to help one another. The ripple effect, James said, adding a rising sun. Because kindness never travels in a straight line. It spreads in all directions, touching lives we'll never know about. Both men understood their story wasn't about a homeless veteran and a billionaire. It was about infinite possibilities that open when one person sees another's worth, when someone blessed with a second chance dedicates their life to offering the same to others. Somewhere in the city, another dollar was changing hands. Another story of hope beginning. Because ripples never end. They just keep spreading, shore after shore, life after life, proving the smallest gestures create the biggest changes.